Hello and welcome to ARIRANG News. It's Monday, October 10th here in Korea. Live from Seoul, I'm Han-dan. The United States has deployed one of its nuclear-powered aircraft carriers to South Korea for a joint naval drill, which began today. A U.S. military official said the USS Ronald Reagan will participate in the six-day Invincible Spirit drill. This is the first time the Allies have engaged in exercises on all coasts of the peninsula at the same time. The Allies have mobilized dozens of warships and submarines for the drill in a show of force against North Korea's recent nuclear and missile provocations and the potential belligerence that is quite likely, as today is also the anniversary of the founding of the North's Workers' Party. The U.S. plans to continue sending major strategic weapons to South Korea to intensify the military pressure on Pyongyang. There are concerns North Korea could carry out a provocation today to mark a key anniversary. Pyongyang has a track record of lashing out on dates it deems important. There are a number of options open to the regime, but some experts believe the day will come and go with no unusual activity. Connie Kim reports.
The South Korean military is on high alert for any provocations as North Korea marks the 71st anniversary of the founding of its Workers' Party on Monday. Sunday was the 10th anniversary of North Korea's first nuclear test, but no unusual activity was detected at the Punggye nuclear test site. Analysts say there are three types of provocations the North could forge ahead with: a nuclear test, a long-range ballistic missile test, or a missile launch from a mobile launch pad. A long-range missile launch is considered highly unlikely, as the North has stated it'll notify the relevant international authorities prior to any firing, which they have not done. South Korea has noted that another nuclear test is a possibility, following the regime's most recent test in early September.
North Korea is always ready to conduct a nuclear bomb test. The South Korean government is closely monitoring the situation and fully prepared to counter such provocations.
South Korea's military authorities also say there is a possibility North Korea could suddenly launch a medium-range Dodong or Musudan missile from a mobile launch pad. But there are also experts who believe the day will pass without a provocation. They note that restoration work following the worst flooding the North has seen in decades has yet to be completed. They also say Pyongyang will most likely wait to see what punishment the UN Security Council hands down for its September 9th nuclear test. Connie Kim, ARIRANG News.
Korea's ruling Saenuri Party and top government officials have been working on plans to help people affected by last week's typhoon that struck southern parts of the country. Our Kim Young-gil walks us through the newly announced measures.
The ruling Saenuri Party and the government held talks on Monday aimed at quickly providing necessary aid to typhoon-stricken areas in the south of the country. The government says it's planning to support up to 70% of all damages incurred on individual properties caused by the deadly typhoons. They will also allow citizens to have vehicles damaged by floods fixed free of charge and give them other benefits such as lowering water and gas utility bills. Schools in typhoon-hit areas will be provided with additional funds. The ruling party also urged the government to designate the typhoon-stricken regions as special disaster zones to speed up restoration efforts. Some 10,000 volunteers, soldiers, and government officials are lending a helping hand to speed up the recovery process and normalize the cities of Ulsan, Gyeongju, Busan, and Jeju. The ruling party and the government have vowed to formulate comprehensive countermeasures to extend financial aid to typhoon victims. Last week, Typhoon Chaba struck southern parts of Korea, leaving at least 7 people dead. Aside from the human losses, the heavy rain affected thousands of hectares of farmland and inundated more than 500 houses, along with thousands of automobiles. Kim Young-gil, ARIRANG News.
The nation's cargo workers have joined an ongoing strike by Korea's railway workers that's now into its second week. The Korean Cargo Workers Union started its general strike this morning, but fortunately, there haven't been any major logistics disturbances. According to the Yeosu Gwangyang Port Authority in Jeollanam-do Province, about 1,000 workers are taking part in the strike, leaving about 2,000 cargo vehicles at a standstill. Officials had predicted the strike would disturb about 42% of the total container movements in Gwangyang Port, but things are close to business as usual at the moment. The union says it's walking off the job to protest a number of government policies, including its decision to abolish regulations on controlling freight supply and demand. They say that without the regulations, the number of freight trucks will increase, lowering freight charges and affecting small and mid-sized operators. Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump faced off in the second presidential debate that wrapped up a couple hours ago. The night started with a question about a 2005 recording of Trump in which he is heard bragging about groping and trying to have sex with women. Trump apologized but said that it was nothing more than locker room talk and, quote, one of those things. Then he pivoted to the sexual allegations against former President Bill Clinton from nearly 2 decades ago and talked about ISIS. Trump brought up Clinton's email and said that he would appoint a special prosecutor to investigate her, saying she would be in jail if he were president. Foreign policy, health care, and national security were also discussed, but the debate isn't expected to move the needle much for either candidate. The final debate is scheduled for October 19th. And that does it for now. I'll be back with more headlines at 4 p.m. Korea time. Don't go away.